Welcome to True You Ministries, the Christ-centered podcast for Christian women ready to stop struggling beneath the surface and experience deep, lasting healing. If you love God, but still wrestle with anxiety, rejection, people-pleasing, or emotional wounds, you're not alone. And you're not broken. Each episode helps you break false beliefs, heal at the root, renew your mind with biblical truth, and walk confidently in your identity in Christ. If you're ready to break lies, heal deep, and walk free, you're in the right place.
And welcome back. With me again this week, I have Marty Webb. Last week, we were talking about appreciation and her book, which you can get on from her website. We'll have that information later. But this week, we are going to be talking about some practical tips and steps that you can use to start incorporating appreciation into your daily life. Marty, welcome back.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be back.
Yeah, I'm
So
excited.
enjoyed our last session. It was great.
Me too. Just whizzed right by. I know we can talk about this for hours, but why don't we get started? So Jacob's story. So Jacob in the Bible, right? His story begins with a stone for a pillow and ends with him recognizing a sacred place.
Yes.
What practical steps can we take to shift our perspective and begin seeing God's presence and blessings in the middle of ordinary or difficult circumstances? And I know we touched on this a bit in part one, but would you expand a little bit more?
I think that one thing that just stood out to me so much about Jacob's story was life wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And he made quite a few errors. He didn't do very well with some of the ways and decisions he made. And it reminded me of real life, how often we don't always make great decisions.
Right.
Or things haven't been handed to us, or things don't go right. And with that, in his biggest crisis time, he runs away and he puts his head on a stone. Nothing is different, but God visits him with a dream about a ladder from heaven, and he realizes God is with him. And I love what he says. And I want to quote it because it's from one of the scriptures. Surely the Lord is in this place. I did not know it. That's where we are. When we are living life and we're in this chaotic cosmos world, it's not fun. There's things that don't go our way. There's happenings around that scare us. And in those places, God is there with us. We just don't know it.
Yeah.
And so I loved Jacob's story. And so I'm doing some conferences and I'm using that because I think it shows our humanity. And yet it's also, if Jacob found the Lord and he saw the Lord was in this, then I can too in my situation. So appreciation opens our eyes to recognize that God is present and has been present all along. Appreciation is the door that opens that. Gratitude starts it.
Yeah. That's so important. And I think of the scripture, I'll never leave you nor forsake you.
That's right.
And why do we have such a hard time believing that? I think as human beings, I think we have a hard time believing that God is really that close, that he wants to be that close to us, that in the struggle, because I believe it's a lie from the enemy that says, and it started in the garden with the doubt. Did God really say? So we doubt what God says, but we know that his word is the foundation. It never changes. So if you can look back, I know in my own life, Marty, I've walked through some really difficult things. And even before I came to know the Lord, so I go way back and I'll go, oh my gosh, God was there in that. But I had no awareness of him at that point. But even when I've come to know the Lord and was dealing with so many struggles and losses, and even in the current time that I'm in, where things have changed and everything, I'm in a different space about it because I'm remembering, God met us, my husband and I, Robert and I, in all of these places. Why would he not be with me now?
I love that. I too did that early before I even knew what appreciation did. I would go back and I could remember thinking, and I'm in current, and 10 years before, I'm going, I remember how big that thing was I went through.
Yeah.
I made it through. I'm here. And now this seems big, but I remember that seemed big too. And I'm still here today. So nothing changed other than my recognition that I made it through and he was with me.
Yeah.
And so I think it is so true. We just knowing that he is with us. Plus we live in this chaotic world we live in.
Yeah.
It's hard. We're around the negative all the time. You said, why don't we gravitate towards that? I think it's because because of our own personal brokenness in relationships here on earth. It keeps us out of that perfect communion with the Heavenly Father. And so once we can realize, like when I'm worshiping now, since I've done so much appreciation, I'll see worship so different because I see him with me and I see things from the throne, or I'll see things about Jesus that I never experienced before. And they're always personal. That's cool. But then I go, you do that for everybody. That's right. God, he's God. He can do that for everybody. And
Absolutely.
the richness is just amazing. So again, it's training. It really is training our brain and our body to calm and quiet and find him. And we get to a place where we can touch the other, and then we go, no, wait a minute, I'm coming back to this because God's with me. He's with me in this alone.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that a lot. And I know too, for me, because of what I grew up in, again, this is not about me slamming my parents or anything like that. They were hurt, broken people, and they were not equipped and they didn't have the tools, but we are impacted by our family of origin, and being able to recognize that. I know for me, I'm very intentional in not hanging out with negative people. I can't, because I know it'll pull me right back into that. And I just don't want to go there. And so I'll find a way to kind of like what my husband does, what Robert does. So tell me, what is the good that you can find in this? And they kind of look at me like I'm crazy a little bit, but wanting to help them just reorient and center back onto the Lord, because he is doing something in that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the piece about Robert asking a question, because when we're in that place of negativity, our circuits aren't on. We're not ready. We're wallowing in that. And we're just like, I'm stuck in this and I like where I am and I'm not getting out of it. We don't like it really, but like it enough, we don't know how to get out of it. When you ask a question like Robert just did, so tell me, I'm curious, what would you find good? You begin to turn on the relational circuits. Because you're inviting, you're not pushing away going, oh, listen, I can't hear that negative. I can't hear that. We can change the atmosphere. That's part of it. We can change the atmosphere in wherever we are. We can become curious, but oftentimes it attacks our own insecurities and we don't do anything. So I love what Robert does in that setting, because it really invokes it's an invitation to let me find something good. So it's beautiful. It's the beginning of those relational circuits getting turned on. It's like flipping a switch.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. The next question that I have is, you teach that appreciation changes perception and opens relational circuits, what we just talked about. What is one simple daily practice someone can start today to become more aware of the people, gifts, and opportunities they may be overlooking?
I think the simplest one to begin with is when you wake up, before you do much, or be aware, set a timer, I don't know, whatever you do, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're drinking your coffee, whatever you do, Lord, what can I find to appreciate today? And I think I was one before I started this process. I didn't notice nature a lot. I was not outside in the yard with noticing the beautiful flowers when I was young. I didn't have that. I look at trees and I'd see them as trees. I'd look at mountains and I think Rocky Mountains, I was raised in Colorado. Yeah, they're beautiful, but I never equated them to where I could sit and appreciate them. And so I think what the easiest way, because a lot of people will say, I don't have very much to appreciate. And yet they do, they just don't know it yet. And so that's what grows as we practice it. So if you'll practice, this morning I looked outside and there was a beautiful flower, and you sit and you just notice that flower and you take it in, enjoy the color. You smell it to see if it has a good smell. You touch it to see what the petals are like. You sit there and you're quiet and you're just enjoying God's beauty. That's a
Right.
beginning. That
Yeah.
is a beginning. Then as you move into it, that really helps you. It changes your whole demeanor inside you. It puts you in a place because you're acknowledging the beauty that God made.
Yeah.
And it's a part of appreciation that doesn't require you to speak to someone, but that's another way to do it, is to find something to appreciate in someone else and tell them
Mhm.
and name what they did, and then share how important it was and how it changed your life. There's the full appreciation of a person. So you can
Yeah.
do, but I think the beginning place is just start to be aware of the beauty around you, because you have
Yeah.
time to do it. If you're driving to work,
Oh,
or if you go to, you're sitting in
yeah.
work, you always have your coffee cup. I do mine. Sometimes
Mhm.
when you're really tired, you go, okay, what am I thankful for today? Oh, I have my coffee, and I'm going to be a lot better in a few minutes, but I'm certainly grateful I have it. And God gave me that coffee. So that,
It reminds me of a counseling session that I had yesterday with a young client, and I was talking about appreciation with her. See, I'm telling you, I'm grabbing on to all of, and I'm wanting to share it with my clients. And nature is the first place that I experience the Lord. I look at the trees and I'm going, their branches to me are the arms that are reaching up to the Lord to
oh,
worship Him. And that's what I see. And I love going hiking, and I have a wonderful trail that I go on with a girlfriend of mine. And I just notice the beauty around me. But I was sharing the story with my client yesterday, and I was saying to her, I said, it used to be when I would wake up really early in the morning and I've got the window open here in my office and I'm hearing the birds going at it. They are chirping away. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so loud. Okay. Do that. I don't do that anymore because I have I don't like loud, sharp noises, right? Because my ears are very sensitive. But now, as I'm doing the early morning work, because it's quiet in the morning and I'm hearing the birds, I'm going, oh wow. How beautiful. They're singing to the Lord. That's how I put that in context now for myself. And I can appreciate that these are God's creatures. He
yeah.
created them.
And they're living their
And
purpose.
exactly. They don't have to doubt what their purpose is. Unlike human beings, they're out there chirping away, and I hear it differently now. It's beautiful. They're singing to the Lord. It's worship, and I can appreciate that. Whereas
Yes.
before it was, oh my gosh, I wish they would just stop because they're
Yeah,
making me crazy.
exactly.
you know.
You know
So
what's interesting there? You had a choice.
I did.
Yeah. We
I
have
did.
choices. We can touch that negative and it feels really ugly, or we can touch that good and it feels so fulfilling to think,
Yeah.
because it takes you to a deeper place. That's the important piece. It takes you
Right.
to a deeper place. Goodness. You hear the different birds' cries, the way
Yes.
and what they're doing, and different birds sound different. God
Yep.
did that.
Right.
Only God could do that.
I know.
And
I
that
know.
takes you to those places of appreciation, that if God could do that, that means
Mhm.
He could do things in me because I'm different than the next person. You
Yeah,
take it to a deeper
absolutely.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that where you say it was a choice, and it always is a choice. And I think every choice in life either brings us life or it brings us death.
Mhm.
And it really does. And I'm like, I want to choose life. Whatever
Yeah,
that looks like, I'm gonna do that.
that's right. But
And then
but we're trained to be in the negative,
yeah, we
because
are.
we were trained to survive. And so then we get to experience, to build relationship, what that
Yeah.
means. And so that's that, making that choice. I don't want
Right.
to be there. I want to be over here. Yeah. And it's
Yes.
not
And I
taking the bad away. It's just acknowledging the bad's there, but I'm still going to be
right.
in the good. I'm going to
Right.
find the goodness. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. There's the difference between surviving and thriving.
That's
And,
right.
and that's what we're talking about here. When we are practicing that appreciation, we really are thriving in the midst of what may be going on anyway. Again, and that's a choice, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. So, for those who want to strengthen their marriages, families, or friendships, what are some practical ways to express appreciation consistently rather than assuming others already know how we feel?
Yeah, I think when you think about it, we do a marriage Webb seminar, basically, on called the Joy Reset. And we do it with couples. And we come at it all from finding that place of appreciation for our partner rather than being critical. And how do you communicate that? And how do you keep your relational circuits on? And it really works for marriage, because you remember when you got married, you were so enthralled. Everything was, you loved everything about the person. And probably the initial thing you loved about the person is the thing you end up not liking.
Exactly. It was all rainbows and puppies. And then it was,
and then it was like, now I don't like that so much. And so then we entertain that. I was thinking of this because I was thinking about with John. John is amazing and I love him dearly. But when you come together, and we'd already represented 80 years of marriage when we married. So when we got married, we thought we had it down, but we found out real quick we didn't have it all down. And the little things that do, like whatever, they don't put the toothbrush away right, or they don't put it away, or they put it away a certain way and we don't like it. Whatever it is, it's usually not that major. And we dwell on that. When we dwell on it, what happens is we then now see more. I don't like the way he laughs. I don't like the way he communicated with the other people and not me. It starts you on a trend and a trail that is unhealthy. So that's that one brain pathway that's in that negative place. It's that isolated place that I get to have my right and I feel this and I'm going to stay there. The problem is you entertain that and keep doing it. It keeps reinforcing those neurons in the brain. But when you begin to find something to appreciate in them, and believe me, most of the time, there's something to appreciate. When you begin to do that, it switches you over. And now you're starting to create a new brain pathway, but it has to be practiced. It has to be used all the time, because you can go back to the other one really quick. And really, it's very detrimental when we do that, because once we know we cannot do that, far better to practice the appreciation, finding what that you love about them, the sensitivity, the way they provide, the way they fix a meal, doing the dishes. It doesn't have to be a thing, or the fact that they have good friends, whatever it is. When you entertain that, you're starting to create a new pathway in your brain that when it's practiced long enough, and when you're doing regular appreciation, you'll find all of a sudden that stuff doesn't matter anymore. And it kind of slips up on you. You don't realize where you go, okay, I've practiced it 3 weeks. Now I'm going to be better. No, it's like all of a sudden you go, oh, that didn't bother me. And I really enjoy being in the good place with him. It's not bugging me. It's far more honorable. It's more fulfilling. It's just the right way to live. It's the way God designed it to live. It's bringing heaven's language to earth's complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of a story with Robert and myself, and it's always around water. So whether it's in the shower or he's washing the dishes, because I cook and he washes the dishes, and I'm going, what in the world? Why is it taking so long to wash the dishes? Or why does it take so long to get out of the shower? I'm like, seriously, what's going on? And because I'm thinking practically, the water bill is not cheap. I'm just thinking practically, right? So I asked him, I said, so why does it take so long to get out of the shower or to wash the dishes? It's just the two of us, right? And he says, Stacy, this is where God talks to me. And I was like, oh,
wow.
Okay. I can appreciate that. And I don't want to get in the way of the Lord talking to my husband, because when the Lord talks to Robert is not a person that will say, thus saith the Lord, right? This is what he doesn't do. It's very rare where he'll say, this is what I'm hearing the Lord say. And so I take notice. I listen up because it's serious. It's not used as a weapon, right? So I can appreciate that, where I'm going, okay, I will trust the Lord to provide, to pay for the water bill. No problem. So I just thought that was so funny. He was just like, this is easy. This is where I hear the Lord. I'm going, oh, okay, fine, great, terrific.
And the crazy part of it is, if the Lord's speaking to him there and he's taking the time and the water bill is bigger, that means the Lord will pay for that water bill.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
we
I'm like,
oftentimes go down the road and it's the
yeah,
negative when all
right.
along the Lord's
Yeah.
bigger than all of that.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely. So,
That's a
so
great
I've, I've,
example.
I've just stopped questioning certain things at this point where I'm going, I'm sure the Lord's in that. I'll just leave it alone.
And you're
Um,
much more at peace as
yeah.
well.
Right, from not having to manage everything.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I have a couple that I'm counseling, and I recently in the last session that I had with them, and they've got two teenage boys. And I hear session after session, I'm hearing the wife and the kids, they're piling on dad. And then I just see him. He's so downcast. And I started talking with them about appreciation. And I said, not just one for the other, right? Or one to the other. I said, get your boys involved as well. And do this as a regular practice and see how things start to change in your relationships with one another.
I have a great personal story about that. We had a couple that were struggling in their marriage, and we just incorporated, and they had 5 children. And so they had a big range. And we just said, you know what? They were struggling. The dad was struggling with the relationship with one of the boys. And we said, you know what? At dinner time, why don't you all go around the table and just find something to be grateful for the day? And maybe just mention the day and what you could pick out the day that was good. And they did that, and they have called us and said, oh, it altered our entire relationship and dynamic with our family. And one of the things, Brene Brown, who I just love some of her videos,
Yes.
she does
Yes.
one on gratitude where she had studied gratitude and how important it was. So she decided to implement it, and their kids were like 11 and 8 or something.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
not even that old. Anyway, at dinner time, they would do that. And she said at first they went, oh gosh, now we have to come up with something to be thankful for. She said they did it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And she said it got easier and easier. And then one time they had a music recital and a game to go to. So they were going to cut short on dinner and not do it. And the kids said, oh, wait a minute. We have to tell what we're grateful for because we're not leaving until we do that.
Oh, wow.
That it had completely pulled them in.
Yeah.
And
I
see,
like
because
that.
they lived differently. Those kids saw the difference.
Yeah.
And so start it young.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could
Yeah.
do this when we're young, oh my goodness.
Oh,
It would save us so
absolutely.
much later in life. Yeah.
Well, yes, absolutely. And even if we didn't start younger, now is the time.
Yep,
Today's
that's
today's
right.
the opportunity to get started. I said, "Which, when it's too late, when you're dead.
Yeah.
You can't do anything once you're gone. That's it."
Yeah.
So start now once you
Yeah.
know about it. So pivoting a little bit. So how can parents, ministry leaders, and church members intentionally create a culture of appreciation, and what small habits have you seen make the biggest difference over time? I know that I've been in ministry for a really long time. So have you. And people are people, regardless if they're in the church or out of the church, right? And there's a lot of brokenness there. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
A few stories pop into my mind about this because it's so important. The first story was we visited a church about 6 years ago. And when we walked through the door, this couple met us and they were just beaming. I'm not kidding, just beaming. And they came and they got close to us, and not intrusively, but they just got close to us and said, we are so thrilled you're here today. Tell us, what's your name and what do you do? And they were inquisitive and they were so interested, genuinely interested in us. It made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
We attend that church. Okay, it was in a school, so you walk down the corridor. Then there was about 2 or more people, maybe not quite that vivacious, because this one lady just has the gift of making you feel welcome. That's her gift. But more were interested. So by the time you got in there, you felt, now a person that's turned off could feel like, okay, that was overpowering, but the questions made a difference in the beginning. And so by the time you get in there, you go, I think I like this place. There was no negative talk in the church.
Oh,
And to this day, it's a gift from the Lord. This church does not, we tell the pastors all the time, you have a gift here because you don't hear people talk negative about people. You hear them be genuinely interested. You hear them, what can I
Wow.
pray for you are? And they're engaged. They're making eye contact. Their body language is connected, shows connection.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's for a church. I have a guy
Yeah.
who we know really well. He's out of Seattle and he's very interested in our ministry. And I gave him the book to actually, he read the book before it was published. And I said, let me know your thoughts. He has a corporation. And what he's done is he's taken some of the ideas in the book and incorporated them. And he said it's altered their entire staff. That instead of meeting, when they're meeting, they don't talk about the problems at first. What they do, and I was in a church in Gresham, Oregon, where a pastor did this so beautifully. They all started every meeting with, let's compliment someone. Give me 3 compliments this week of somebody that blessed you. My goodness, what that changes. It's changes a culture in the church. Some churches start out with, after worship, let's find something to be grateful for. Take a minute and you now share it with the next person as you're greeting them and saying hi. All of that changes the culture. Very little things, but it changes the culture.
Yeah, definitely.
So those are examples.
Yeah, those are wonderful examples. And I think about the church that I am in. It's huge. I did not want to be part of a huge church, but it is what it is. And I think even so in churches where 2,000 to 3,000 are coming on a Sunday, 3 services, and you've got 6,000 people coming in and out of there. And then midweek, so maybe close to 10. I think even in a large church like that, this is so important as well, because you can get so lost and not seen and not known.
Yes.
But I've felt not seen, lost, and unknown in small churches too.
That's exactly right. And that's the whole heart of appreciation. I feel seen. I feel valued.
Yeah.
And you're glad to be with me. That's what appreciation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our goal with appreciation.
Ooh, yes, man. I think about how different things could be if we did practice that on a daily basis, just within even our own families and then the communities that we happen to be living in as well. The people that we meet along the way for walking or hiking, or if we're at the market, the bank, wherever it is, it's really not that hard.
No, it isn't. And I have to tell you, recently, John displaced 5 ribs. And we were in the hospital and my daughter Jody came in and we were sitting talking to the doctors. And that's a stressful time. We didn't know if he was going to need surgery. So in other words, you can be in your bad place. If there's a lot of stress on the whole thing. And these doctors came in and I just asked them questions and I embraced where they were, where I evidently, because Jody said to me, Mom, you were so good with those doctors. I was like, have I been really bad with them before? I realized that, and I said to her, you know what, Jody? I think the appreciation is what has done it. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Let my heart be in a good place. Stressful. It wasn't stressful. It wasn't a fun time, but I wasn't that stressed where I was ugly and showing off how I could. So so it does change us and we don't realize it. That's so key.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up, I have one last question. And I know you shared a tip that one could start with, but let's expand on that just a little bit more, maybe another tip. So if someone wants to begin speaking heaven's language every day, what appreciation exercise would you recommend for the next 30 days? And what changes might they expect to see in their relationships, joy, and spiritual life? And I know we touched on it throughout the conversation, but now we're going to bring it all together.
I think first is awareness to find something to appreciate.
Okay.
I think that waking up in the morning and finding something to be grateful for almost before, you get out of bed, just to be aware, or you get up and you're making your coffee, or you're sitting, or you're hurrying out the door and you're in the car, you're at a stop sign. You can, Lord, show me something to appreciate today. Look at the world, look at the sky, look at the trees, like you said, look at the flowers. Find something you're grateful for. I'm able to be in a car driving to work today. Some people don't have that. Not long ago, I said something like, oh, I think I'm losing my hair. And then I realized at my age, that's probably normal. But the other piece is I could have cancer and have no hair. And I went, okay, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be thankful for what I have. Okay. So just being aware, in other words, what happened for me was I made that statement, and then it was like, because I've practiced it, I went, oh, wait, it could be worse. I need to be
Absolutely.
grateful. I need to be grateful.
Yeah.
So finding something
Yeah.
to appreciate in the morning, and at noon when you're on a break or whatever you're doing, thinking of a person that's blessed your life. And if
Right.
you can, share it with them. Text, that's another thing. We have prompts like that on we have 30 days of prompts, actually 60 days on our website that just
Oh,
prompts
okay.
you. Whoever teacher that
Okay.
changed your life or that impressed you, text
Right.
them if you can. But sit and think.
Right.
The key is sitting and being aware of it for, say, 30, 40 seconds at least. And engaging the senses is really important because that puts us in relational mode. When we use our five senses, what we see, what we hear, what we hear being said, what we smell, what we taste, and what we can. We have now began to pull that forward, and it becomes more relational. That's the way God wired us. We didn't know that before. So doing that, and then at night, going to bed, it's a perfect time to say, Lord, what could I be grateful for that happened today? It might have been a bad day, but find one thing. Lord, you bring one thing if I can't think of it. Or if you can't think of it, you can be thankful for the bed you're going to go to sleep in. It's always just being aware. That is one of the first keys. And then getting in a group. And we offer groups every now and then. We have a couple, and we have the deal is once we start a group with appreciation, and it's just very pointed. We do appreciation. We share it with one another because sharing it completes the neuron pathway in the brain. So sharing it, naming it, and sharing it is really important. Like giving a title to it when we do a memory, put a title to it and then share it. And when you do that, now you've created community. And you've all here if you have 5 people in the group, 5 different of appreciation that affect your pathway as well. There's steps to it. But the key is beginning, and you can get those prompts on our website, the Joy Connective. And when you go on, it'll click on the Joy Connective and you have to scroll clear to the bottom because that's where you sign on, and you'll get 30 or 60 days of prompts. And then you can communicate with us and let us know if you would be interested in being in a group, because then we go through our book and take people through our book as a group too. So those are the steps that we can use. But
yeah, that's wonderful. And I'm hearing you say too, it's not that we are not acknowledging the difficult, the challenge, but what you're saying is let's not wallow in that. Let's not ruminate in that, but let's find something that we can appreciate that will help bring us out of that. I think appreciation helps us take us out of that so that we can be in the Lord's presence and aware of what he might want to do.
that's exactly what it does. When you're in his awareness, he's in charge, and you can lean on him, and you're not alone. And you don't have to be fearful because he's with you. And he then does the miracles that we could never do, the answers he brings, or he brings the comfort along the way, and he's with us. And when we have that, we don't then go to those negative, darker places and reinforce those. And so the key is becoming more resilient. We have more resilience as a result of appreciation.
Yeah, I see that. I see that in my own life too, where I've been dealing with chronic insomnia for a very long time, decades now. And one doctor and another. And recently I just went, you know what? I'm pulling it all back. I'm taking a step back here. And I just said, you know what, Lord, you and me, let's do it. because I'm like, and again, it was just reorienting and knowing the Lord is with me in this. I am not seeing what's going on just yet. I am not. No, I don't know yet where he's wanting to lead me in this, but I'm going to trust him. And so much peace came into that decision and just taking the step back because, okay, we're trying this, we're doing that. Nothing seems to alleviate anything. Nothing seems to be working. And all it did was create so much more frustration. So then when I stepped away and I said, who is the ultimate healer? It's the Lord. And I just need to stay connected with him and trust him. I'm on his timeline, however inconvenient sometimes it may be, because we want things immediately and we don't want to go through that suffering. But how can I appreciate what he is doing in this and what he's working in me and healing in me, right? In this hard place that I've been in for a very long time. And so I have a lot of peace for where I am right now. While none of this stuff has been resolved yet, I'm not freaking out about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're able to be in peace.
Yeah.
You're able to
Yeah.
relax into the place you and he are in together. Yeah.
And again, it's just that beautiful picture of, the Lord is always with us. And when people feel like, or they'll say, why is he so far away? And I'll say, tell me what your daily practice looks like with the Lord. And they're like, oh, I haven't spent any time with him. I haven't read in the Bible. I haven't been in the Word. And I said, do you think that maybe that could be the reason why he feels so far away, is that he's always there, but you've not entered into it with him yet?
And take it another step further, we haven't been trained to see him with us.
Yeah.
And that's where the senses come in. Some people see the Lord with them.
Yeah.
Sitting next to them. Some people hear him. Some people just sense a deep peace. And some people want to go, oh, I don't get anything. Yeah, you do. Peace is him, his presence, feeling him close to you, seeing him close to you, just that sense of him, that peaceful place. That's Jesus. That's
absolutely.
That's who he is.
I love that. Yeah. So this was so wonderful. When I first learned that you had written this book, I was really excited about it. And I know we had an initial conversation, and I'm so glad that we were able to talk even more about appreciation and how important it is for us in our daily lives, in our relationships with one another, and especially in our relationships with God. And it's just such a beautiful book, and it's really easy to read. It's such a fast read, but there's so many nuggets in every chapter. I have highlights throughout the book. I've loved it. And I love the prompts that you have at the end of each chapter, the questions that are there. They're so meaningful. And I think for those of you that would be interested, this is the book. And so it's not that big. You can read it. I read it in a couple of days. It's a fast read, but it's one that you'll go back to over and over again. And I know that you have it available on Amazon, but you also have it available on your website as well.
Yes. Stacy, I want to tell you, I appreciate this time. And I appreciate it not only because it's just wonderful to be together, but it's wonderful to be able to present together what the Lord would have people live in, thriving and not surviving. It's just our mission. It feels like our mission is the same. And with that appreciation, it's just naming the person and just saying what it is and how it impacts your life. You've impacted my life. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. The Lord's using it. He's working in those ways that we don't know. And so right there was just a way of, and it's moving, because what I think appreciation does, it bonds our hearts together.
It really does.
It does, yeah. So there's thousands of reasons why appreciation is so important, but thank you for today. This was really
Oh, thank you. It's just such an honor to have you on. You have meant so much to me and continue to mean so much to me in my own life, as I spoke about it in part one. And for those of you that have missed part one, I'll have the link to it. You don't want to miss that. Is that the Lord knew what he was doing, and only he could have put us together in the way that he did, and the impact you continue to have in my own life in truly finding what is my calling, right? Or actually walking in the calling that was on my life as a teenager, and I didn't even know that, but that you were the first person that saw me and knew that there was something going on there, and you provided a way for me to experience the healing that I so desperately needed, and then I get to bring it to those that need it as well.
It's that rippling effect.
Yeah.
You drop the pebble in the water and it ripples and goes out. And that's true for every one of us. Everyone.
Right. Yeah. And here's the point, right? We don't know unless we recognize it and then speak it to that person. Because you and we've stayed in touch over the years and everything. And one thing that I would recommend to those that are watching and listening, I want you to consider that tomorrow is not promised. So don't put off what you're wanting to say to someone that's impacted your life that was so meaningful. Do it today, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I wouldn't want to live with regret and not being able to tell the people that I love and care about who have impacted my life in the way that you have, Marty. I don't want to say, well, you know what, I'll get to that later. Later may not come.
And oh goodness, I wish we had now 10 minutes more, because I just came in touch with my college roommate's son, who is an undertaker, and he has written, he does porch talks, and they're phenomenal. They're off the charts phenomenal. Anyway, he wrote a song called Extraordinary Moments in Ordinary Days.
Wow.
Look for the extraordinary moment in the ordinary day.
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
They really are.
He wrote it around the death of his son, who died from an epileptic seizure. But
my gosh.
It's beautiful, because what he put together is he has those extraordinary moments in ordinary days that he watched his son. And it's a video of his son too, but playing on beach. But it's true. It's really true. Buy up the extraordinary moments in today's ordinary times.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Marty. Again, it was just such a treat and a joy to have you on. And I pray that everyone that watches and listens, just whatever stood out.
Yeah. Yes.
Just start moving on that and see how your life will change the longer you do the practice of appreciation, and how the lives around you will change as well, along in your community, maybe at work, at school, and just see what starts to change. God's in it, and he's with you, and he's near you. So again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was my treat, believe me. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on True You Ministries. If today's episode encouraged you, be sure to subscribe and share it with a friend who needs hope and healing. Remember, freedom is possible, healing is real, and your identity in Christ is worth walking in. Until next time, keep breaking lies, healing deep, and walking free.